right, year 2, week 0, the standard returns. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back to another DNS address. Year 2 is officially underway. The records have been reset. The rankings have changed. New players have stepped into major roles. And after 1 week, we already have a top 12 upset. We have a 4-sack performance. We have a National Player of the Week. We have 2 defensive touchdowns in the same game. And our first user versus user matchup waiting next week. The standard has returned. Let's get into it. Our headline of the week is South Florida makes an opening statement. Number 12, Texas Tech came to Tampa carrying the national ranking. And South Florida sent the Red Raiders home with a 56-point on the scoreboard win. The 19th ranked Bulls win 56-31. Buren Jr., you heard his name, you're going to hear it again, completed 24 of 46 passes for 327 and 3 touchdowns. He threw an interception, got sacked 3 times, but South Florida's offense kept attacking. Joe Jackson introduced himself to year 2 with a massive performance, 15 carries, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wilder added 65 yards and another score. Rodgers caught 7 passes for 145 yards and a touchdown. Sampson added 7 receptions, 71 yards and another score. And then there was JeyQuan Smith. You've heard his name last year because he is the Jet Award winner. Picked up exactly where he left off. Returned a punt 84 yards for a touchdown. Apparently, opposing special teams coordinators learned nothing during the offseason. Grayson Howard also led the defense with 13 tackles, 3 for loss. The Bulls also created 2 interceptions. South Florida opened year 2 with a ranked victory, 56 points, and another reminder that last season's playoff performance was not an accident. Next week, the Bulls travel to face number 22, Louisville. The rankings will change, but the pressure will not. Georgia Southern dominates Houston. Georgia Southern entered year 2 carrying the number 16 from last season. However, the Eagles immediately looked like a team expecting even more. Georgia Southern goes on the road and defeats Houston 38-3. This wasn't a close win. This was not surviving week 0. This is complete control. Weston Bryan completed 15 of 21 passes for 186 yards and a touchdown, but the Eagles' identity remained clear. Run the football. Theo Todd rushed for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns while adding 47 receiving yards. Woodgett produced 78 rushing yards and a score. J.J. Bradley added 44 rushing yards, 58 receiving yards, and a touchdown. 3 running backs contributed, 3 running backs produced. And the Georgia Southern defense made sure Houston never had an opportunity to respond. Defensive tackle Caleb Moore recorded 4 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. That's efficiency. Corner Hardridge added 2 interceptions. Chase Colcutt recorded 5 tackles and 2 of them for loss. Georgia Southern allowed only 3 points. Forced turnovers, dominated the line of scrimmage, and opened year 2 with a 35-point road victory. The Eagles will have a bye next week. After that performance, Houston may need one too. Troy falls at number 8, Alabama. Troy opened its season on one of the most difficult assignments on the entire week 0 schedule. A road game. Number 18, Alabama. The Crimson Tide win 57-29. Woodruff did throw for 314 and 2 touchdowns. He also added a rushing touchdown for Troy, but he threw 4 interceptions. It was nearly impossible to come back within striking distance. Against a raked opponent like that, every possession matters. 4 giveaways can turn a competitive game into a runaway game real quickly. We saw it. Roach, may have heard his name, produced 73 rushing yards and 80 receiving yards. Gavin Griffin added a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Juan Boyd caught 4 passes for 88 yards. Miles Graham led the defense with 9 tackles. They were productive individual performances, but Bama created too many extra opportunities. Trojans begin year 2 0-1. The Trojans will not have to wait long to sit with that loss, though. Arkansas State comes to Troy next week for the first user versus user game of year 2. Arkansas State punished by defensive scores. The Arkansas State final score doesn't tell the complete story. Virginia wins 33-7. Ryan Rivers threw for 206 and a touchdown. Ramon Stevens caught 8 passes for 78 yards and the Red Wolves only score. D.D. Murray rushed for 19 times for 83 yards. The offense moved the football at times, but 4 interceptions, 4 sacks, and 2 Virginia defensive touchdowns changed everything. Virginia free safety Gaines returned an interception 31 yards for a touchdown. Left end Baxter recovered a fumble and returned it 32 yards for a touchdown. Sorry, Gaines' interception was 91 yards. This is 14 points created by the Virginia defense. Take those 2 plays away, the game looks completely different. But those plays happened, and Arkansas State paid for them. Whedon did lead the defense with 8 tackles. The Red Wolves now turn to their attention to Troy. Both teams are 0-1. Both quarterbacks threw 4 interceptions in opening games. Both programs need an immediate response, and only one will leave the first user matchup of year 2 with its first victory. Central Michigan found a star in a defeat, though. Central Michigan falls at Wyoming 27-14. The quarterback rotation produced mixed results. Snead completed 14 for 24 passes for 211 and 2 touchdowns. Sheeds completed 11 for 24 for 127 and 2 interceptions. The Chippewas defense did record 2 sacks and interception. Xavier White led the team with 10 tackles, 2 of those being for loss. And the biggest story was Von Blue. 7 carries for 26 yards. Not much happening there. Then Central Michigan started throwing him the football. 16 receptions, 242 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. A running back caught 16 passes for 242 yards. There's no checkdown option. This was the entire passing game. Blue's performance also earned him Offensive Player of the Week. Central Michigan didn't get the result it wanted, but it may have just discovered the most dangerous offensive weapon in the country. The Chippewas have a bye next week. The first adjustment for future opponents is obvious. Find number 20. And somebody cover them. Our stock ups this week, South Florida, a 25-point victory over the number 12 team in the country. The Bulls began year 2 looking every bit like the national contender they were last year. Georgia Southern's defense, 3 points allowed, 4 sacks by Caleb Moore, 2 interceptions from Hardridge, complete dominance, love to see it. And then also Von Blue, 16 receptions, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, National Offensive Player of the Week. Even in a loss, his stock explodes. Our need more film this week. Troy's quarterback room. Troy threw for more than 450 combined yards. But the passing game also produced 5 total interceptions between Waldrop and the rest of the offense results. The production's there. Ball security must improve immediately. Also, Arkansas State's offense. The Red Wolves allowed 2 defensive touchdowns and committed 4 interceptions. The offense can't continue giving opponents points, especially with the first user game coming out of the season next week. Our Week 0 awards, our Offensive Player of the Week, of course, is Von Blue from Central Michigan with his 16 receptions, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns. The result was not what Central Michigan wanted, but Blue delivered the most extraordinary individual performance of Week 0. Our Defensive Player of the Week is defensive tackle Caleb Moore from Georgia Southern. 4 tackles, 4 for loss, 4 sacks. Houston couldn't block him. Georgia Southern allowed 3 points. Easy decision. Give it to him. Our Built Not Given Award of the Week goes to South Florida. South Florida entered the season ranked 19th. Texas Tech entered 12th. The Bulls didn't ask for respect. They took it. 550-plus yards of offense. A dominant rushing performance from Joe Jackson. Another return touchdown for JeyQuan Smith. 13 tackles from Grayson Howard. And 56 points against a top 12 opponent. That victory was built. It was not given. Around the rest of the dynasty, several additional Week 0 games remain on the dynasty slate. This will be for Week 1. Northern Illinois travels to Nebraska. Old Dominion begins with a bye week. Georgia Tech also has another bye week. Missouri State travels to Mississippi State. Vanderbilt visits Sacramento State. And number 8, Texas A&M travel to Texas State. Those results will help complete the first picture of year two, but the early message is already clear. South Florida is still dangerous. Georgia Southern is still physical, and the rest of Dynasty has work to do. Our week one game of the week, of course, is going to be Arkansas State at Troy. Here we go, the first user versus user matchup of year two. Arkansas State enters after a 33-7 loss to Virginia. Troy enters after a 57-29 loss at Alabama. Both teams are 0-1. Both quarterbacks have thrown 4 interceptions. Both coaches are desperate to avoid a 0-2 start. Something has to give. Can Arkansas State protect Ryan Rivers and eliminate the defensive touchdowns? Or can Troy turn its explosive yardage into points without giving the football away? This may not be a ranked matchup, but the pressure will be real. One team leaves with its first victory. The other starts year two at 0-2. Next week, we have South Florida is going to travel to number 22, Louisville. The Bulls have another opportunity to defeat a ranked opponent and strengthen their national position. Georgia Southern and Central Michigan will be on byes. The rest of the league will be building that first chapter, as we talked about. Week 0 introduced the team. Week 1 is going to separate them. Year 2 didn't ease anyone to the season. South Florida knocked off number 12 Georgia Tech. Georgia Southern destroyed Houston. Von Blue caught 16 passes and became the National Offensive Player of the Week. Caleb Moore recorded 4 sacks. Troy and Arkansas State both punished by turnovers, and now 2 programs meet in the user versus user game. The foundation was built in year 1. The standards already returned in year 2. Now every coach must decide what comes next. Respond to the loss, build on a victory, protect the football, play the game, earn everything in the Department of Natural Selection. You select, we collect, built, not given.